Okay, we are recording.
Paul Stephen Stone is witty, despite the fact that he has three names, which is cool, albeit a bit of a mouthful. Stone has created quite the opposite effect of what normally people mean by witty. His little fiction flights, as he styles them, and if that term is aptly used to describe any entry in his book, it is not better applied than to the stories in a section entitled The Zen of Whimsy, are urbane humor stories, even if they do tend to be a little punny now and again. How to Train a Rock. Obviously, the anchor for this section, as well as the book as a whole, stands out as the quintessential look at Stone's work. It is a traditional how-to entry from something common like a For Dummies book, but spun as to imply that rocks are intelligent creatures. The humor is in the images. In that way, it's almost poetic. How would a rock feel if its view of television was obscured by its presence on top of the boob tube? Two more fiction flights follow on from the first. The second, aptly titled How to Train a Rock Part 2, picks up with the Q&A section about training rocks, and the third, I Am a Rock, is a rebuttal to both previous articles, composed from a rock's point of view. Perhaps my favorite section, however, is Sherlock Holmes in the Case of the Missing Inclination. It is a pastiche whereby Holmes and Watson are set on the case of the author's missing desire to write his column. The dialogue is spot on for the diction Conan Doyle used for the detective and his assistant, and the writing about not writing is well done. I've struggled to write about my own lack of output from time to time, so I completely understand where this column came from, but I've never been able to produce something as usable as Stone has done here. Three other stories round out this section of this book. These include It's My Phone, I'll Shout If I Want To, a glimpse of cell phone usage in public, which hits pretty close to the reality of obnoxious public cell phone conversations. I, Betty Crocker, a subversive persona story about evolution in advertising images, and What Was I Say, another column about column writing, but based on the failings of memory as people age. The last was just as funny as the others, but perhaps a bit more poignant in the age of the dreaded Alzheimer's disease. If you haven't read Stone's work before, I highly recommend you pick up this book.